This week we cast a quick eye over just what happened at Gamescom 2015. Jonny Robot hops behind the wheel of the brand new rebooted Need for Speed, and we rise up to meet the challenge that is Street Fighter V. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week saw Gamescom transform the German city of Cologne into the bright, sparkling centre of the games industry. We do have a proper look at the event a little later in the show, but there were a few big reveals we can't wait to tell you about. First up, there is a brand new World of Warcraft expansion on the way, with Blizzard taking the wraps off of Legion.
On Draenor, old rivals sought to bring Azeroth to its knees. And while the Iron Tide was quelled, they were but servants of a more ancient foe that has not forgotten our defiance. The vengeance of the burning shadow has come.
The publisher seems to have pinned an awful lot of hope on this release, following the news that World of Warcraft subscriber numbers have dipped to a 9-year low. Now sure, 5.6 million active subscribers is certainly nothing to scoff at, but that number is roughly half of what it was 9 months ago during the peak popularity of Warlords of Draenor. It's not clear quite what Blizzard will do to entice fans to return, but the new expansion will introduce a new continent, the Broken Isles, a new selection of artifact weapons, and after years of fan requests, a brand new playable class, the Demon Hunter. There is no release date for this one just yet, of course, but we're not expecting it until next year, and plenty more information at BlizzCon later this year. 2K Games also took advantage of the Gamescom attention to announce a brand new one. Mafia 3 is real, set in the haven for organised crime that is 1968 New Orleans.
Bayou's a big place, Tommy. Dark. Hungry. By the time it's through with you, won't be nothing left.
Lincoln Clay has returned from Vietnam to find his community betrayed and wiped out by the Italian mob. So he's out for revenge. He's building his own empire, he's aligning himself with other criminals, and he's transforming the very city he lives in. Mafia 3 is due out for PS4, Xbox One, and Windows PC in 2016. It might not be a new game, but it is a new and unexpected expansion. Paradox Interactive has confirmed new content for Cities Skylines, with the After Dark expansion bringing a day-night cycle to the game. This will see a revamped in-game crime mechanic, new leisure and beach specializations, expanded city services, including cargo hubs, improved prisoner transport and a bus terminal, and new transport options, including bike and bus lanes. The day-night cycle will be introduced to the game through a free update, while the other new features are bundled up with some upcoming DLC that is yet to be dated. Moving on from Gamescom, but sticking with games getting expansions, Destiny is lining up a stack of changes for the Taken King update due out in September. One of the big changes will be the in-game Ghost. It's no longer voiced by Peter Dinklage. We all knew the actor's voice work left a little to be desired, but fans were still shocked to learn that veteran voiceover man Nolan North will be stepping up to the role and re-recording all of the Ghost's dialogue.
The Hive haven't been on Earth in centuries. That wizard came from the moon.
It's also been a big week for esports, with Valve hosting the International Dota 2 Championships in Seattle, crowning American team Evil Geniuses this year's winners. EG took out the best-of-5 Grand Final Series 3-1 against Dark Horse CDEC, taking home more than $6.6 million. It's good news too for Australian League of Legends team Chiefs Esports Club, who won the Oceanic Pro League Split 2 Grand Finals held at Sydney's Luna Park. A monster crowd, both online and at a number of packed cinemas around Australia, tuned in to watch Chiefs convincingly defeat Legacy 3-1. The Oceanic champions are now off to Turkey to compete in the International Wildcard Qualifier for a shot at the World Championships. There's some new news as well from that Gears of War Ultimate Edition that Microsoft told us about at E3. While all of the focus might be on the original game in the series, there is more to it than that. The other games, Gears of War 2, 3 and Judgment, will also be included in the bundle in their own way. Sure, you won't get new copies of the games on the disc, but each of the games will be available via download as part of that Xbox 360, Xbox One backwards compatibility feature. The other side of this, if you already own Gears of War or any of its sequels on Xbox 360, they will soon be downloadable on your Xbox One at no extra fee. There's big news for fans of Fallout 4 this week too. Simply put, the game won't end after you finish the main story, and Bethesda has confirmed there is no level cap. It's a similar arrangement to the one used in Elder Scrolls games, but it is very different to what we've seen before in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. It's good news for those of you who don't want the game to end, but very, very bad for completionists. How will you know when to stop? A couple of bits of movie news for you too. Sony Pictures has just filled out its calendar for a whole bunch of films, which means we now know that the next Resident Evil movie will arrive in cinemas on January 27, 2017, with the long-awaited Uncharted film hitting on June 30th of the same year. Both are still a while off, but they're not the only games-related movies hitting the big screen in 2017. Ernest Cline's love letter to the games culture, Ready Player One, is also due out in December that year, with Steven Spielberg in the director's chair. Of the three, Resident Evil 6 is the one that we know the most about. Paul W.S. Anderson is working on it again, as is series star Mila Jovovich. Development on Uncharted has been a little bit more prone to disaster, with directors, writers and actors departing the project almost as quickly as they sign up. Ready Player One, on the third hand, has largely been flying under the radar. As well as Spielberg, Zach Penn has been attached to pen a script at the same time as he's working on the untitled sequel to Pacific Rim. And finally this week, we will leave you with the front cover of this week's Time magazine, which focuses on virtual reality, promising that it will change the world. Unfortunately, despite the subject matter being so very exciting and Oculus Rift creator Palmer Luckey chosen as a cover star, the magazine's execution was somewhat lacking. The ink had barely dried before the photoshops started hitting the internet. For the record, Mr. Luckey apparently loves the image, saying he thinks it's fun. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, got plenty more still to come.